Well, thank you very much for asking this question, which I am not going to answer directly because I'm not really familiar with the field that has been discussed here. But I can try and answer it by way of analogy. I came to the Netherlands 40 years ago, and the Netherlands at that time was very well known for the quality of its planning system. And I wanted to investigate this in a comparative perspective. And we decided to do case studies of projects, concrete projects, with no prejudices, as few prejudices as possible. We didn't make any presumptions about the planning system being good or bad. We didn't make any assumptions about who is going to have most of the influence and who is going to have less influence. We didn't make any assumptions about the processes. And so through these case studies, we formed, and this was a team of researchers, comparative as this project is, and we formed a good common understanding of what was actually happening on the ground, in a manner of speaking, in this case, physical or spatial development. Now, you are going to look, as I understand it, at smart specialization strategies, and there will be projects within that. So I would suggest that you pick out a few projects. They need not be very representative. They could be ordinary projects, and investigate who were the stakeholders, what kind of regulations were being applied, were these regulations being observed or not. Do not make the assumptions that the regulations are observed. Where does the finance come from, and so forth and so forth. And then look subsequently at the stakeholders themselves, how they are satisfied, whether they are satisfied with the whole system of governance involved, and what the problems are, and start discussing with them, including in this particular case, I suppose, the regional government, maybe the national government is involved in some way, directly or indirectly. The EU will be involved, and do this in a comparative perspective. I think that was at least the case in the Netherlands. We got a very revealing and very surprising view of the Dutch planning system. I don't want to go into any details, but I tell you it was very surprising because it worked more in the breach of the rules than in the observance. It involves a lot of pragmatic decision making, and it was not half as how shall I say, rule following as we expected the Dutch planning system to be. So maybe there's a lesson in this for this particular project that you are engaged in, focusing in this particular case on the governance of this project. I'm turning to governance because that is what is my own particular field, and that is what I've always focused on when I was studying European planning.